Hello, I'm Tim Loughton, Member of Parliament for East Worthing and Shoreham, and welcome to the latest of my 2-Minute Tim podcasts. Now, I've just come from a summit of about 20 MPs from Sussex and Surrey and London, the Rail Minister, representatives from GTR, the rail operators, Network Rail, and officials from the Department for Transport. And it was a pretty heated meeting because of the loads and loads of complaints we've all been getting from our constituents about the pretty pitiful way that Southern and Thameslink have been running over recent weeks and months. I have to say it was a pretty woeful meeting. We had lots of excuses. We were told that this is the largest franchise in the country. It was formed last July. It takes 23% of all rail passengers in this country travel on GTR. At peak time, they've got something like 175,000 commuters travelling into London, that they're using infrastructure of track and everything that was essentially built back in 1932, and lots of excuses. And they were excuses, frankly, that we heard about 6 months ago when we had a meeting with them to pass on the complaints of constituents. And frankly, it is just not good enough. It was very clear that there's been very poor planning to cope with all of this. And we were constantly fobbed off with all the details about the extra investment, which there has been, the fact there's been a 9% improvement in responding to incidents, fine. There's been an extra 10 people employed in their communications headquarters in Croydon, fine. They're training an extra 200 drivers to cope with driver shortages, great. But the service is still woeful, and what I'm more interested in is not all about these inputs. I'm more interested in, as somebody who travels up from Sussex by train every week, in the outputs, making sure that we've got the trains running on time or close to time. Southern has the worst punctuality record in the whole country, making sure that when things do go wrong, and of course they go wrong, that travelling members of the public are kept properly informed, not turfed out of a train at East Croydon without any explanation or any clue about where they're supposed to go, that the quality of the trains is better, constantly breaking down, or the heating, lots of reports today about the heating having packed up. And a real bugbear I get complaints about is overshooting stations. When trains have been cancelled or the whole system is running late, in order to try and make up time, they will not stop at stations that they're due to stop at. And that's even happening very late at night. It may be the last train to get people home, where there are kids trying to get to or from school, where there are older, more vulnerable people as well who desperately rely on those trains, and it's just not good enough. So basically, the bottom line was they are just 6 months into a 4-year improvement plan. Frankly, they said it's going to be another 18 months or so of continued pain, despite more drivers and new high-tech trains coming on from July onwards, which hopefully is going to help a bit. But I don't want to pull the wool over constituents' eyes, as they've been trying to for a long time at the rail operators. It is not going to get appreciably better any time soon. We made it very clear to the Minister that she has got to apply her foot to the backside of some of the train operators and Network Rail, so that when problems do happen, they are handled much better, more efficiently, and with a better passenger focus, and they become a much more passenger-friendly operation than they are at the moment. And if they don't get that right, and they don't get it right in short order, then frankly we should look at taking the franchise away, breaking up that franchise, and getting somebody else in who can run railways better than GTR are at the moment. So I'm afraid I've got no great crumbs of comfort to offer at the moment. The investment is going on, but we're not seeing the results of it yet, and we need to see the results of it yet, because we're all sick and tired as MPs of getting all these complaints from constituents, and you're absolutely sick and tired of having to rely on a shoddy service day in, day out, and they've got to get better, and we made that message absolutely loud and clear to them. And as things are available to report, we will keep coming back to this, and we will keep holding the feet to the fire of GTR, Network Rail, frankly the Minister and the officials in the Department for Transport, who need to make sure that the travelling public in my constituents in the whole of Sussex get a much better deal than they're getting at the moment. So we're on the case, they better get their act together.